Hey all, welcome to my channel. So today we will try to create end-to-end framework and we will be using Selenium with Cucumber this time. And this will be a BDD framework. So as you can see in my screen, so this is how we will be creating. And before starting that, I'm assuming that whoever is watching this video, they have a knowledge about Selenium, Java, and they might have worked on at least TESTNG, JUnit before, because then only you can relate it. And for a person who has no idea about Selenium and Java, for them maybe it will be tough to understand. So I would suggest to have this prerequisite. So I'm assuming that you have a knowledge on the BDD, you have a knowledge on Selenium and Cucumber, but still you can go ahead. At least you will get some understanding how the project is created from end to end. With that, without wasting any time, let's get started. So as you see in the screen, so we will be creating a BDD framework. We will use Selenium, Cucumber, and a few more dependency like TestNG. We will use WebDriver Manager to have our Chrome, Firefox handling, right? Instead of downloading the .exe file, all those things we will not do. Will you directly use WebDriver Manager? We will use the Maven. We will create it through Maven project. So we will use Maven compiler, Surefire plugin. Even we will use Spotless so that whatever Java code we will write, it will be formatted well, right? So with this, so if you see, this is how we will be creating the project. So once we create a project, we will have all our pages in the main folder. We will add it. We will also create some utility like for reading the file from configuration, for reading it from the instantiation of the driver factory. So all this thing we will do. Okay. So and again, so in test folder, we will have our runner class and we will have a step definition test step and we will add, let's suppose if we will be doing it for Google, you can add google.com as your website and you can add username password in the config properties. And finally, we will have a feature file. Cool. So without wasting our time, so let's try to create a project. So I had created one project already because just before even creating it, I just wanted to ensure everything works. So we will now again try to create one more project and let's call it as BDD framework E2E end to end. Select the JDK. I'm selecting JDK 11 for this demo. You can use whatever you're comfortable with. You can take 11, 17, whatever you want. From archetype, you can select the Maven archetype quick start. So make sure that you are selecting this and ensure that you have the Maven generator already in the IntelliJ. So for this demo, I'm using IntelliJ. You can either use Eclipse or you can use any other tool based on your comfort. I'm more comfortable with IntelliJ. It is more easy and user friendly. Now create the project. Okay. Now you will see now our new project will get created. Let me just put things here. Yes. And we will just move out our older project, whatever we had created, since we are now trying to create a project from scratch. So right now, whatever dependency we have in the POM XML by default using this project, it is getting installed. And if you see, if you get a notification for this, maybe we can do externally add files can be added to Git. Okay, always add we can do so that we can push our code to even GitHub. And now, as I told initially, whatever dependencies which we will be needing for this, let's add those dependencies. So I will copy all those what we need right now, and I will simply put it here, and we can write just customize this name to whatever project we created. So whatever name you want for this project, you can add it here. And we have added all the dependencies. So we have this Cucumber JUnit dependency, and we have Cucumber Java. Then we have JUnit, TestNG, Cucumber TestNG, Selenium Java, WebDriver Manager. For log, we will use this. For compilation, we will use Maven compiler and we'll put source and target 11. And we have resources plugin, Surefire for running the test case, and Spotless for formatting of the Java code. So all this plugin is required to create this framework. You will see this icon here. So now if I click this refresh icon here, automatically all the required libraries which I need will get added here. You see now whatever we have dependency given, it is added here. So that's pretty much about the dependency. I won't go much on detail because I have to finish this in as less time as possible. So the project we created, it has created some default apps, so we don't need it. So we will just delete this and we don't need it. We will delete it. Now let's get started with. So if you remember, we have to create folder structure like this. So first we will create our folder in this way and also we will create the classes. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start creating our folder structure. So inside Java, I even don't need org, delete it. We don't need org here, delete it. In Java, as per our folder structure, we want to create a pages module. In this pages, we will create a class called, okay, I think I created a pages class here, but it's better we create one package and let's call this package as pages. In this, we will have this pages class and maybe I can change the name for this as Google home page, okay, which will have our locators and getters and setters. And let's rename the file here. Okay. Now, next thing, what we will do in the utility folder also we need that should go under main. Okay, that should go under Java. Let's check about what folder structure we need to follow. So yeah, the util folder should go under Java. So let's do that. New package, call it as utils and edit. In the util, we will be needing two classes. Okay. So that we can one class we will be for reading the config file. So let's call it as config reader. We will be needing one more class. Let's call this class as driver factory. This will help us to instantiate our Chrome driver or Firefox driver. Now let's go to the test class. It should have our test steps, step definition, and even it should have the feature file, which we can have under resource folder, right? This is what we have to do. Java runner, and also we need a runner class. So there we will create one more folder for runner. So we need to now create this one. So let's do that now under Java. Let's create one folder called, okay, it's a folder, not class. So new package, and let's create one package for runner, and let's call it as runners in case if you want to have any other runner class inside it, so better to call it runners. And let's have one more folder for having our step definitions. We have added it. Let's have one more for hooks. Okay, so if we want to have some hooks in this folder, so we can add that also. And so hooks are those, so like after and before, if you want to let instantiate driver or do something as a prerequisite before even running your feature, you can have those code in the hooks. New, and now create one more package and let's call it as test steps. We use test steps for assertion. Okay, not created new project. Test steps. Yes, created. Now let's create some classes. So we can call test step classes Google search test steps. We have this class ready. In step definition also we need to create a Google step class. So let's create it and call it Google step. And this shouldn't be part of hooks, so we don't want this to be part of this. Okay, we will see it. And we should also create a class for our hooks and call it as. So now I wanted to move it to step definition, not under hooks. So let's move it under this and do refactor. Yeah. Okay. And with this, we have test steps and all. Now we need to create one more folder for feature file where we will write the actual case in Gherkin words. So it should be under feature, okay, as per our project structure. So let's do that. Now we will create it under test folder, new, and we will call it as feature. Okay, something is new package, and let's call it as resources. And let's move it under test folder. In this resources, we will create a file and let's call it as Google search dot feature. So remember that. So the feature file has extension of dot feature, and also ensure when you check the settings in that you have few plugins already there. Few one is camel case, it is useful. Cucumber for Java also you should have, and this Gherkin. Okay, this will help you to read the file, right? So if you even read what is documented in this, you will get to know what is the function of this. So it will add support for Gherkin language, which is used by Cucumber testing tool, and Cucumber for Java will give you a support for support of the Cucumber's words test add support for Cucumber testing tool for step definition written in Java, provide coding assistance, and adds dedicated run debug configuration type. So this is where this plugin will help you. Now we have done this, and now let's also create testng.xml so that this testng.xml we can utilize it to do our parallel run. And also in pom.xml we can provide the path. So if you remember when I copied it, I have also given the path for the testng XML. See resources testng XML, and so that when I will run it through Maven test, it will call testng.xml for execution. This will then call the runner, and then runner will run our whole suite. So this is how the cycle is. What now we need in the runners, we should also have a class, and let's call this class as parallel. We can call this parallel test runner test. Let's call it like this. So now we have a complete folder structure, and we need to now add the code. So if you see, we have POM, testng, Google search. Maybe the spelling I gave wrong, I guess here. So I can refactor the rename. It should be SEARCH here. So let's start with feature file first. So in feature file, let's add some scenario, and I'm having something already, because if I keep start writing everything, this video will go maybe more than 1 hour. So I have things ready. And if you see, it keeps giving me some hints like, do you want to create step definition, and then if yes, where you want to create it. So this is all with the help of the Cucumber plugin which we have installed. That's why we are getting all those. So right now, since we haven't implemented any step definition, we are getting all this because there is no association of this Gherkin word with any steps. We have added some tags, and we have the background keyword. So use of background is, for this case and this case, if we have any common steps, we can use in background. Once this scenario execute, this will also execute. Once this execute, this will execute. So it's common to both. But before that, if you have hooks, then hooks will execute first. So let's paste some more code we have for hooks, and I will tell you what it will do. Let me put the hooks here. Yep. So cool. So here I have now added the hooks, and we might be getting here the package name is might be wrong. Yeah, now it's correct. And right now, since I didn't set the driver factory, it's giving error. But once we will add it once, so what it will do? So once your scenario, before even running our scenario, this before hook will be called, and once execution is completed, this will be called. So this plays a major role. So if you have any initial setup needs to be done, or anything you need to do after execution of test, this hooks will help you there. So it will help you to do the precondition, to manage the precondition, and to clean up for the Cucumber scenarios. So that's where the hooks comes into the picture. And now we will try to add the config properties. So I think we haven't added. Yes, there is one more thing left. So yeah, I think that is the config folder we didn't add it. So where we will be having our test data. So let's create a directory and call it as config. And in that config, we will have config.properties file, config.properties. Yes. Make sure the spelling of properties is right. Otherwise, your config class will not able to identify. Let's put the base URL in the browser which you want to instantiate. Let's put those detail, and let's go to config reader class, and let's use some Java utilities like properties. Right, we will use the property class to read the config.property file. So that is where we will use this config reader file. So if you see, it has the path source test resources config.properties. This is the path, right? And it will read it. And with the help of this getter, whatever property value we want to take, we can use it for our framework. Now let's go to driver factory, and let's write code to instantiate our Chrome driver or Firefox driver. So here I'm using ThreadLocal. The reason being, so if I'm running the test case parallelly, I want each of its own instance. So each thread should have its own instance so that there won't be any null pointer or exception. If we don't use it, we may get the null pointer exception because for each Chrome run, we should have a unique instance of a WebDriver. Hence, I have used the ThreadLocal concept here. So what this class will do, it will coincide this, and this method will see if our driver is null or not. If it founds it, it will take the browser name and it will instantiate it. And if you are providing Firefox, it will instantiate Firefox, and the Firefox will launch. So this is what this method will do. Now we have done till here configuration driver, and let's set up our Google homepage, and let's add the desired code which we need in order to launch the Google page. Okay, rename it. Fine. So now here it will have your locators for the Google page. This will now help us to instantiate. So from driver factory, we are instantiating the driver, and using, if you want to open the page, right? So we'll use driver.get, and this base URL which we have provided in config file, it will launch it. And there are a few methods which we'll use later in our test steps to call it, and so that we can enter something in the Google search box, and then we can click on the search button. Now let's moving to the test steps. We are going in the back direction, And just to explain you things now, let's call Google search test steps here. So in this, we will be doing mostly test steps is a part where we use the assertion. So mostly any assertions should come to the test steps. This is generally the rules of framework if you have made it through BDD. Right? So there it's a practice which is followed in the industry to have assertion in test steps. Anyway, you can even have it in page method. You can have it as step definition, but as per standard coding standard, we should have the assertion here. So we did the same in the Google search test steps. And now let's move to our step definition class. And there we will add all the Gherkin step. Yes. So Google search. Wow, what's okay? Step definition. Set package name to this. Fine. Now test steps. I believe test steps. That's why it's giving error. Yeah. Fine. So here we don't need this anyway. Quitting we will because we don't need it. Reason is we are using hooks for quitting the driver. And if you see in our feature file, we were getting error initially and those are all gone. If I do a control click, I am easily navigated to this given the user is on the Google homepage when the user searches for then for a darshan. Also remember, so given is something like when you are doing any navigation, the initial prerequisite kind of step. So you given that is what standard follow. And if you are doing any action, something like user searches and do, you will put in when, and any assertion goes to then. And even we have AND operator, so that can be appended with even given and when. So these are all coming from Cucumber. All this thing we are getting it from Cucumber Java. If you see io.cucumber Java, so the dependency which we add, these are all coming from there, that library. So these annotations we are taking it from there, right? So till now, I am hoping that you are following it. So we are very near to our end-to-end project creation. This is just a very simple skeleton. We can once you go and customize it, you can make it more and more complex and robust, and you can create more module. But this is the basic one, and we just want to check if this basic works. And so this is but the base. So anything above to this is an add-on. So you can now add many things to it. You can add more hooks. You can add more steps. You can add more pages for each, right? But today we will just create a basic framework so that you guys get understanding on how to create an end-to-end framework using Cucumber and Java. So till then, I'm hoping that we are following. Now we are left with this parallel test runner.test. So this is the heart of this framework, and that is where now framework understand what it has to do. If you see this Cucumber option, again, this is coming from Cucumber TESTNG. What here we are telling it? So we are telling this our feature lives under this folder, and we have a step definition. So under this, we are gluing it here. So now our Cucumber knows that, okay, this is where our step definition lies. We're gluing it with this feature. And then we want a report in the HTML format, in pretty HTML format once our execution is done. And we want the execution of tags with add the smoke or regression. If I add and here, then it will try to identify only those features here if I which will have both the tag. But right now we want either regression or smoke. So we can have this tag add feature as well as a scenario level. Okay, then we are setting monochrome to true. And since I wanted to run this, the scenarios in parallel, I have added this. Okay, so when I made parallel equal to 2, it means we will be running our cases parallelly. So I believe still here everyone get it, and we let's try to run it through JUnit, and I will just right click here and click on run and see whether our framework is working or not, or if we have missed anything. Even if we get any error, we will get to know. Okay, it's running, instantiating. Okay, okay, there are definitely something wrong. That's why we got the error. So let's try to debug it. Okay, so if you see the error here, you might be observing that it is somewhere in this path. So if you see under resources, we haven't even created the features folder, and we just provided the same path here, right? Features, and that it is not able to identify. So what I will do it here, I will create a directory and I will call it as features. Spelling is wrong, so make sure spellings are right. Otherwise, we will again get the errors. But debugging skill is the very important skill, and we should all know how to debug it based on whatever error we are getting. Because if you are doing any automation, definitely you are going to have issues. It will never going to run on a first run. That is what my personal experience say. Nobody is that perfect that we can run everything and on first case it will pass. We have to debug. We need to see the logs, and then based on the logs error, we need to identify the root cause. See, now it is running. That was the only problem we had in the framework. So since we wanted to run them in parallelly, since parallel is true here, you will see two windows. If you see two Chrome windows are launched, and we have two cases and where we have given different input. In one I gave this, another I gave this, and now they should pass. See, now they are pass. And here, if you will carefully observe this, before even our scenario start, it is also displaying starting a new test scenario. This line from where it is coming, this at the rate before what I have added here. So even before our scenario start, it is first looking into this and tear down how it is happening. See, test scenario completed. I got this again, right? It means it is after run execution, it is now going to this after hooks and giving the calling the tear down method and then quitting the driver. Fine. So I hope you understood it. So till now we have made the project end to end. Now under this testng.xml, we need to add code in such a way that this will call parallel test run. Okay. So simply you just add the path of this, and maybe name can be anything, but I will give name of our project B2E, and we'll call it parallel test. Okay. And we have this class under runners dot parallel test run. That is the class path we have given, and we will run it parallelly at class level. Thread count 4 I gave. It's your choice, whatever you want to give. And now let's try to see if through testng.xml whether we are able to trigger our run. Okay. Right click. I'm not getting run option. Any specific reason? Yeah, now we got it. So now I'm running it through this testng.xml, and let's see if the same test case get instantiated or not. See, again they started. So now what this file is doing, it's simply calling parallel test run test and executing our case. So again, successful even till here. So, and I hope you understood how things are calling each other, how things are connected, how with testng.xml I am able to trigger this class, and this class is now running case things in parallelly, right? All passed. Now, the final step, we need to run this through Maven. Okay, through Maven. Let's try that. Maybe from here also we can do that. And also remember, we also gave the path for reporting. So we got even this Cucumber report. And let's try to open it. So double click on this. You can open it with Chrome. Yes, we got the report and we got the Gherkin report. And if you see how beautiful it looks, we the way how I wrote the feature, it's there. We have the scenarios, whatever we wrote, right? Whatever search field I gave assertion, it's giving green, it means all passed. So this is how the Cucumber reports look like. Okay, till here all done. So here till then we have run the case. Now only one thing is left is running it through Maven command. And if we succeeded in this, then we can run this framework on any machine, any Windows, Ubuntu, or whatever runner in cloud you want to run, you can do that. So let's run a command called Maven clean test. And remember that we need to provide the path. We want this Maven Surefire plugin to know we need to run testng.xml. And for that, we explicitly provided that configuration info. You need to give this and also ensure that your version is 2.20 or somewhere in 2 line, because I observed that with any version above 3, Surefire plugin is not picking. So we need, maybe I need to debug more why, but that is what I observed. So ensure that you have this version. So we keep getting some version compatibility issues many times whenever new things are provided by developers of the plugins or dependencies. So if you get any issues, ensure that that could be off because of the latest versions as well. So that is also one of the thing we should know. So if you see now, even with Maven, our test case are running completely fine. They are also running parallelly. Both the Google pages are launched. Now they should, yeah, do the searches and they should do the assertion, and that's it. All sold. And one error maybe we got because of some Google was trying to see whether we are robot or not something. So maybe that's why it is failed. Otherwise, all things looks good. So with this, today I am going to end this video, and in my next video, we are going to push this code to GitHub, or maybe we can push it now itself. And in next video, we'll talk about the GitHub action, the YML file, and then we will try to run it in the GitHub action runners, and we will try to report. We will try to send the reports to the Gmail. So that's what we will try to do in our next video. So I will push this code to my GitHub and provide the link to my YouTube video below. You can have a look and practice it and ensure that you are understanding things. And I always this time, though I copied, but I always recommend you to write each line by line, write each method, so that if you get any error, you will learn more. Since I have to finish this video sooner, I did this, but as a good practice, we should always write code line by line if you are a beginner. So with this, thank you all. And I hope you got some value add after seeing this video. So if you really feel that good, please subscribe my channel. Thank you. Bye.